Chosen one, this message will change your life forever. God has spoken, and what He has decreed cannot be undone. If you are watching this right now, know that it is not by accident. You were meant to receive this message. Heaven itself has aligned this moment, and God is saying, justice is coming. For too long, you have endured the whispers, the betrayals, and the silent laughter of those who doubted you. They thought you would fail. They rejoiced in your hardships. They believed you would remain beneath them forever. But God has been watching. He has seen every tear, every sleepless night, every prayer you whispered when no one else was around. And now, He is saying, enough. Your enemies, those who mocked you, those who betrayed you, those who celebrated your struggles, will soon witness something they never expected. They will watch as God lifts you up before their very eyes. The tables are turning. Those who walked away from you will come back. Those who spoke against you will be silenced. Those who doubted you will see God's power move in ways that will leave them in awe. God is about to prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies. They will be forced to acknowledge that you were chosen all along. Do not ignore this message. This is your confirmation. There is a divine shift taking place right now, one that cannot be stopped. God has decided that it is your time. For too long, the enemy thought they had the final say in your life. They laughed at you, doubted your calling, and turned their backs on you. They believed their words, their actions, and their plots against you would be the end of your story. But what they failed to realize is that God had already written the ending, and it is one of victory. Heaven is moving on your behalf. Justice is coming, and when it does, you will not need to say a word. God Himself will speak for you. Those who mocked you will be left speechless. Those who celebrated your struggles will have no choice but to watch as God elevates you. Think about Joseph, the one his own brothers betrayed and sold into slavery. They thought they had removed him from their lives forever. They assumed his story was over. But what happened? God took Joseph from the pit to the palace. And when the very same brothers who betrayed him came in need of help, they had to bow before the one they had once despised. This is what God is preparing for you. You are about to witness divine reversal. Those who spoke against you, those who turned their backs on you, those who thought you would never rise, they will see what God is about to do. They will see your victory. They will see your breakthrough. They will see that you were chosen all along. God is not just restoring you. He is setting a stage for your enemies to witness His power in your life. Let them laugh now. Let them doubt. Let them think they have won, because very soon they will be ashamed. Chosen one, God has seen it all. He has seen every time they spoke against you behind your back, every time they smiled to your face but secretly hoped for your downfall, every time they mistook your kindness for weakness. There were moments when you felt abandoned, like no one saw your worth. But God saw you. When they turned their backs on you, He stood beside you. When they tried to break your spirit, He strengthened you. When they mocked you, He held you close. And now, the time has come for Him to act. Do you remember Hannah, the woman who was mocked for not having children? Her rival, Peninnah, ridiculed her day after day, year after year. But what did God do? He shut the mouth of her enemy. He gave Hannah a child so great that his name, Samuel, became known throughout history. Your story will be no different. God has seen the people who doubted you. He has watched those who took advantage of your goodness. and he has made a decision. This is not the season where you will beg for respect, for love, for recognition. This is the season where God will force your enemies to see your worth. When the favor of God is upon you, no enemy can stop what is coming. Your enemies thought they had you figured out. They assumed their words and actions would define your future. But they made one mistake. They underestimated the power of God. You don't have to argue with them. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to fight back or waste your energy on people who are blind to what God is doing in your life. Just watch. Because what God is about to do is not just for you. It is also for them to see. Your enemies will be ashamed. You are stepping into the moment of divine reversal. Everything the enemy thought they destroyed in your life, God is restoring. Everything they tried to take away, God is multiplying. Everything they assumed would remain broken, God is making whole. There is a divine shift happening right now in the spiritual realm. Your name is being spoken in rooms where you have never set foot. Opportunities are aligning. Doors that were once shut are about to open so wide that no man, no enemy, no force of darkness will be able to close them. And here's the best part. The very people who doubted you will have no choice but to witness it all. Look at Job. He lost everything, his wealth, his health, his family. Even his friends turned against him, saying that perhaps he had brought these misfortunes upon himself. They spoke as if Job's story was over. But what they didn't see was that God had the final word. The same people who sat in judgment over Job had to watch as God restored double of everything he had lost. Double the wealth, double the joy, double the favor. That's the power of divine reversal. Your enemies have assumed that your suffering was the end of you. They thought your hardships defined your destiny. But what they failed to understand is this: God was not punishing you. He was preparing you. The pain was part of the process. The isolation was part of the transformation. The rejection was necessary for your elevation. But now God is saying, the wait is over. Watch what I am about to do. They will see the same person they mocked rise before their very eyes. They will watch as God elevates you to a level they never expected. And when it happens, you won't need to say a word. You won't have to justify yourself. You won't have to remind them of what they did. You won't even have to acknowledge their shame, because God Himself will speak on your behalf. Your testimony will be undeniable. Your breakthrough will be so evident, so powerful, that even your enemies will have to admit, God was with you all along. They will bow. They will apologize. They will wonder how they could have been so blind. But by then, it will be too late. What God is doing in your life now is not for their approval. It is for His glory. Justice is coming. The tables are turning. Just watch. Chosen one, you don't have to chase revenge. You don't have to beg for recognition. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone, because God is about to do something so undeniable, so visible, that even your enemies will have no choice but to acknowledge your favor. Look at David. He was overlooked by his own family, treated as insignificant, left out in the fields while his brothers stood before Samuel, believing they were worthy of the anointing. But God had chosen David all along. When the moment came, the oil did not flow for those who looked qualified. It did not flow for those who thought they were better, stronger, or more deserving. It flowed for David, the one they had ignored, dismissed, and underestimated. And the same will happen for you. There are people who thought they were ahead of you. people who believed they had secured their place while you remained unnoticed. They thought their position was permanent. But God is saying, not so. The anointing will flow where it is meant to flow. The favor will rest where it is meant to rest. And no amount of plotting, jealousy, or manipulation can change what God has already decided. Here's what's about to happen. The very ones who looked down on you will soon look up to you. The same people who rejected you will need you. The ones who mocked you will realize their mistake, but by then, your elevation will already be complete. Think about the story of Joseph. The very brothers who threw him into a pit had to bow before him in Egypt. The same people who thought they had destroyed his destiny had to come to him for help, for survival. This is the kind of reversal God is preparing for you. But here's the key. You don't have to fight for it. Joseph never sought revenge. David never forced his way onto the throne. And you don't need to prove yourself either, because God will do it for you. He will prepare a table for you in the presence of your enemies. They will watch you eat. They will see you flourish. They will witness firsthand what God's favor looks like. And the best part? You won't need to say a single word, because the evidence of God's blessing will speak louder than anything you could ever say. Your enemies are about to be humbled. The ones who laughed at you are about to be silenced. The same mouths that spoke against you will now have to acknowledge you. Chosen one, nothing and no one can stop what God is about to do in your life. They tried to delay you. They tried to block your blessings. They whispered lies about you. They schemed. They plotted. They worked against you in secret. But what they failed to understand is this. When God decides to elevate someone, no force in heaven or on earth can stop it. Pharaoh tried to keep Israel enslaved, but when God's appointed time came, nothing could hold them back. Haman tried to destroy Mordecai, but in the end, he fell into his own trap. Goliath mocked David, but he fell before the one he underestimated. Do you see the pattern? The enemy always thinks they have the upper hand, until God steps in. And now, God is stepping in for you. Everything they thought would harm you is about to be turned around for your good. The insults, they will become evidence of your endurance. The betrayals, they will position you for something greater. The rejection, it was God's protection all along. You didn't lose anything. You didn't miss out. You didn't fall behind. God was setting you apart for something greater. And now, it's time. It's time for your enemies to witness what happens when God's favor rests on a person's life. It won't be subtle. It won't be hidden. This will be a public display of God's power. The same people who said you wouldn't make it will see you thriving. The ones who laughed at your struggles will see your breakthrough. The people who tried to shut you out will watch as God opens doors they can't close. And here's the most powerful part. You won't even have to defend yourself. Your success will be your response. Your transformation will be their answer. Your rise will be the undeniable proof that God was with you all along. That's why you don't have to waste time fighting battles that belong to God. That's why you don't need to argue with people who can't see what's coming. Just stand still. Watch. Let God work. Because soon, they will be left in shock. They will ask themselves, how did this happen? How did they go from overlooked to favored? How did they rise so suddenly? And the answer will be clear. God did it. And when God does something, no enemy can undo it. The moment when God's justice will be revealed. Not in secret, not behind closed doors, but in front of everyone who ever doubted you. This is not just about personal victory. This is about divine justice. Your enemies thought they had the final say, but they forgot who holds the pen. They assumed their betrayal would break you, but God turned it into your breakthrough. They mocked your struggles, but now they will witness your success. And here's what makes this moment even more powerful. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to seek validation. You don't have to prove a single thing, because God Himself is proving it for you. You will see them bow. Maybe not physically, but in their hearts. They will have no choice but to acknowledge that God was with you all along. They will remember the words they spoke against you. They will recall the times they dismissed you, ridiculed you, and thought they had won. And when they see what God is about to do in your life, shame will cover them. They will realize they were wrong. They will see that you were chosen. They will watch in silence as you step into your destiny. This is why you had to go through what you did. This is why God allowed the rejection, the trials, the loneliness, because He was preparing to reveal His glory through you. And now, the stage is set. God is about to put His favor on display. He is about to lift you so high that your past struggles will seem like a distant memory. And those who laughed, they will be silent. Those who plotted against you, they will be the ones asking for your help. Those who thought they had destroyed your future, they will see that God was building something greater all along. So, stand firm, stay in faith, and just watch, because your enemies will be ashamed. Justice is coming. God has decided. Everything you have endured, every tear you have shed, every silent battle you fought, it was not for nothing. God has seen it all, and now He is about to reward you openly. This is your confirmation. Your future is not one of shame, but of honor. Your destiny is not one of failure, but of divine victory. The struggles you faced were not signs of defeat. They were the groundwork for the elevation God is bringing into your life. The very things that seemed like setbacks were, in reality, setups for something greater. Now, it is unfolding before your eyes. The next chapter of your life will be marked by breakthroughs that will shock those who doubted you. You are stepping into a season where God will restore everything you lost, plus more. Your name will be mentioned in places you never imagined. The doors that were once locked will swing open without effort. Opportunities, favor, and divine connections are on their way to you right now. And the most powerful part, you won't even have to chase after it. The blessings will come looking for you, because you remained faithful. Because you refused to let the words of your enemies break you. Because you trusted in God's timing even when everything seemed against you. Now, He is about to show the world what happens when He stands beside one of His chosen ones. And when it happens, when the favor of God rests on your life so clearly that no one can deny it, remember this moment. Remember how it felt to be doubted. Remember how it felt when they turned their backs on you. Remember the nights you prayed for a breakthrough, wondering if it would ever come. And when your enemies look at you with shock, with regret, with humbled hearts, just smile, because God said this would happen. Justice is coming. The tables have turned, and your time is now. Just watch.